Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video in World of Tanks. I'm your host Ladpad, and today we are on the Mirny-13 game mode. This is the new Halloween game mode that Wargaming has given us, and it has a lot of detail, a lot of depth, and it is a ton of fun, but it is brutally difficult on this Nightmare difficulty, and we are playing on Nightmare difficulty right now. To give a brief summary for those who have not played it in previous years, there are going to be 4 phases in this game mode. The first 3 phases look like this. Your goal is to kill bots as quickly as possible and then collect a resource called Miriam off of their dead corpses. You'll notice as we shoot this Alpha Conway right here, we collect a little bit of Miriam, and you can see that number displayed in blue either up here next to your name or down here on the left of your options. And our goal is to collect that Miriam, and we need to get enough to fill a device called the Magnus. As soon as we fill the Magnus, we will be able to progress to the next stage. And so a lot of the skill in this game mode is being able to pick a great path to stick together and to collect and kill enough bot camps in the 5 minutes you're given before time runs out. And if time runs out, you lose. If you all get killed, you lose. And so you need to stick together with your team and wipe these bot camps out very quickly. A few ideas you want to follow are that you never want to proc, you never want to trigger 2 camps at once. The way that this game operates is that, ooh, that's a beautiful ram. The way this game operates is that no bots spawn in until you drive into the specific camp. And once you've driven into the specific camp, you'll be able to kill all the bots there. You want to kill everything in that camp and in the surrounding area before you progress to the next camp. You also get special abilities, and you just saw me use one right there. My 2 abilities called Group Repairs. It allows me to heal 500 health for each person within a specific radius. I managed to heal myself and the rest of my team for about 2,300 combined damage. Also, what you're seeing in front of us right here is a group of rabbits. Rabbits have a lot of Miriam, but they're very easy to kill, and this is sort of the luckiest spawn inside the game. And we are able to one-shot these rabbits and collect their Miriam for pretty much free. Behind the rabbits, you see what are called hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are kamikaze suicide units that will throw themselves at you, and if they manage to hit or get close enough where you shoot them and you're within their damage and explosive radius, they will do massive amounts of damage to you. I would say that hedgehogs are the most dangerous regular unit inside this game mode. However, the one unit that we haven't seen much of, but that is incredibly dangerous, is called the Immortal. There are 2 bosses in this Nightmare game mode. The Immortal is on these regular functions, and you can see actually that the Immortal is following us and just popped up on the mini map. The Immortal cannot be damaged. In fact, in the Nightmare game mode, he can never be damaged. He does about 600 or 700 damage if he manages to hit you, and he is constantly chasing, constantly pursuing, and is a huge threat to you and your allies. So, you have to clear these camps before he gets to you, and pray that you get out in time. You also saw my 3rd ability right there. That was a full reload. I managed to unload all 2 of my shells and then press my 3 key, and that gave me 2 more shells back into the clip. Right here, we all get onto the Magnus, and that transports us to the 2nd phase. Also keep in mind that you get to keep any excess Miriam you have, and that helps make the other stages a little bit easier. And every stage you progress allows you to get another anomaly, and these anomalies can give you pretty significant boosts and benefits, buffs to your tank. We have 20% extra hit points from our first anomaly. Our second anomaly is going to be a sniper. We get 15% more or better dispersion on both our hull and turret traverse, and these are really going to help throughout the course of the game. And even if you die and have to respawn in a later round, you will keep these anomalies, and that is a change from last year. Now, Notice we have made pretty much a key mistake in that we have split from the double. Our double, that's the tank name for the IS-32 in this game mode, actually got split off from the rest of the team when he was caught by the Immortal. And wanting to survive, he just took a path that would allow him to escape, and he is now going to double back and meet us in the middle. And you will see in the chat in just a moment that we are communicating with him. We're out of radar distance, however, we can still message and try to show him where we're going, and very, very soon, there we go, Rad Roman pops up on the minimap, and he is meeting us in this middle camp. Now, that's what the game mode is like, and we're going to talk about the final stage when we get there. Right here, you're seeing me play what I think is the most fun tank in this entire game mode. This is the Grenadier. The Grenadier is an auto-reloader. This auto-reloader also fires derp shells. I believe 152 millimeter derp shells, and they do 910 damage on average, and you can fire 2 of them in a single second. That's 1800 damage. That's nuts. This tank is so much fun to play, and it's fast and it can do cool skateboard tricks like what you just saw. Now, what's really key for playing auto reloaders is, as a general rule, and it's true on this tank, if you fire the first shell, you will have better damage per minute than if you keep firing inside the mag. Right here, I get 7.5 seconds on my reload if I fire the first shell. So right here, I fire, it takes 7.5 seconds to reload the clip, and that's pretty decent. 7.5 seconds for 900 damage is fantastic. So I wait on my reload, and then I shoot a second one. Right here, shooting one by one is going to give me much better damage per minute. Also notice, my friend, that is Calcifer, has died. His Miriam is actually going to remain with his corpse, and I could go pick up everything he had gathered if I was able to get there. However, the Immortal is in my way, and so I am going to still run away from Calcifer because we have enough currently to fill up the Magnus. We get a really lucky spawn here. The rabbits end up being in this spot, and so I'm able to get the last bit of Miriam that our team needs, and we'll even have 79 extra going into the next phase. Now, we've got our 79 extra. Also notice when a new phase begins, all of your abilities respawn, and so you should always try to pop all your abilities at the end to sort of maximize the value you have. Also, we've gained another anomaly. This is perhaps the most powerful and increases reloading speed by 15%. That's phenomenal. And right here, I'm considering using my team heal ability. That's my best ability because my platoon mate Calcifer is damaged. Unfortunately, nobody, or perhaps fortunately, nobody else is injured, so I'm actually going to save it and wait to use it in a moment. Because it's a team heal ability, you don't want to use it on a single person, you want to use it on everybody. And I wait just a moment towards the end of the fight, and I end up healing myself for 400 and my team for 1300 damage. Now, right here, you're going to see exactly what the Grenadier is amazing for. I get behind my opponents, I have terrible penetration, but I have massive alpha damage, and I get to do 900 to the back of the first Hunter Panther, I do 250 to the second, and right here I get tracked by the Immortal. I immediately pop my one ability, which fixes my tracks and will give me a full heal over time, and I get out of there as quickly as possible. These heal abilities are so important because you can get set on fire, you can get tracked, and really the only way to save yourself from fire is to use a heal ability. The only way to quickly repair your tracks is to throw on this one of your heal abilities. Otherwise, you'll be a sitting duck and the Immortal will kill you because it just demolishes tanks that are frozen. Now, one key thing to point out is as we move around in the Grenadier and as our allies pop another camp, you will have some of the bots will spawn right next to the camp. and you kill those very quickly. However, you also get secondary groups behind you every now and then, like the Hunter Panthers we just cleaned up, and like these Lost that are behind us. The Lost are often T-49s. They are this Grenadier type that we are playing right now, and they are incredibly dangerous. They have this walloping 152 millimeter gun, and so they can do 1,000 damage in one shot, and they are terrifying to deal with. These are after perhaps the swarming kamikaze balls, the Lost T-49, or perhaps the second most dangerous units in the game, because they just have so much alpha damage. And in fact, I'm going to work with my platoon mate to wipe these off as safely as possible. I see this Lost isn't pointing his gun at me. He points it back in my direction, and so I'm going to let Kausfer try to wipe this guy off the map, because he has some armor and can deal with it, whereas I cannot with my pathetic light tank chassis. Now, we're moving around, and we've actually lost one of our allies. Also, terrible shooting and some difficult RNG right there. We need to move on. We've lost an ally. If we're able to cap through this point, then we will be able to have him resurrect in the next round. And this is the final regular round of the battle. Also, take a look. Look how much damage we can do if we get the rear of a vehicle, either the rear of their turret or the rear of their hull. And now, I take a look. We've got 495 Miriam. You can see your team's total right here. We need 500 to deliver to the Magnus. And so we're going to push onward, use our speed, and hopefully our incredible damage output. Now, I wait just a touch to let my teammates catch up a little bit, and I look and I start blasting. There's one into the E5, there's two. I'm going to instantly reload with my 3 ability, but I notice I can't do much to the back of an E50M. The Grenadier is terrible at dealing with E50Ms. Prioritize the low armor targets, like the back of an E5, so that you can maximize the value you bring to your team. Your doubles, your Cerebruses are much better at dealing with things like the E50, so let them do their job, kill those tanks, while you focus on other tanks, the squishies that you can do much more damage to, and that will raise the output of your team as a whole. Now we are to the brutally difficult section of this game mode, and it's the boss fight. And you'll see I and my teammate are typing, shoot the bots. Shooting the boss only hurts us if bots aren't already dead. I actually take 500 damage for that, and I'm willing to take that sacrifice because I needed to communicate this with my team. The biggest tip I can give you about the boss fight is do not shoot the boss. The boss spawns extra bots around him, and the bots are absolutely terrifying. They're very, very dangerous. They're more dangerous than the Novak itself, because if you spawn a ton of bots, you will get swarmed, you will die, and your entire team will lose. And this is the pro tip. The bots spawn in direct correlation with the Novak's health. That is to say, if you don't damage the Novak at all, no bots will spawn. Now, of course, you will have to damage the Novak eventually because you've got this 6 or 7 minute time limit. And so what you have to do is you have to damage the Novak enough to where it spawns the bots, and then you stop shooting him right away. Stop shooting the Novak as he goes around, because you do not want to get swarmed by too many bots at once. As soon as the bots spawn, you immediately focus on them and you wipe them off, because you need to eliminate guns from the equation. When the Martin Novak is swinging around, you can avoid his shells because he'll focus on one person and everybody else will be able to pump shells into his tank. However, if you have 10 bots, 15, 20 bots, which I've seen I think before, if you've got 20 bots swarming all around you, then you're going to get killed, your team will get wiped, and you will lose, and you'll be incredibly frustrated. So only shoot the boss after you have killed the enemy units. Now, you'll see a Trapper Lynx has popped up. We haven't seen very many of these in this video. The Trapper Lynx is what's dropping these very annoying circles of danger zones. And so I would say after the T-49s, at least in the boss game mode, these Lynxes are perhaps the most dangerous units around outside of the Hedgehogs. Second to them is going to be these corrupted AMX 1390s, because they do immense damage and they have this really annoying habit of setting you on fire, and they've got a highly increased chance to set you on fire. Now, my tank, the Grenadier, is not very good at shooting the Novak. I'm very inaccurate. I have to hit these tiny weak spots, and my shell velocity is awful. So, my goal right here is I want to bait the Martin Novak in this 2v1 so that it focuses its gun on me and ignores Calcifer, who's got a much better vehicle for this situation. Right here, I'm distracting the Novak, he's shooting at me, and he's letting Calcifer shoot him, farm him in the back with impunity. And right here, you see I'm baiting, and Calcifer gets the first phase complete. Man, that was a 2v1. That was really coming down to the wire. I served as the distraction, and Calcifer finished the kill. And that's where you can't be selfish. Let your teammates put in damage if the boss is focused on you, and be what your team needs. Sometimes your team needs damage. Other times, your team just needs a distraction. Now, second phase, very, very similar to the first. It is, I think, a little more difficult, but you're still focused just on killing bots. This corrupted is a huge threat. It will set my allies on fire, so I wipe it off the map. I'm going to come in, wipe out these bots, and notice we are not shooting the boss. You cannot shoot the boss until the bots are killed. In fact, it is disadvantageous for you to shoot the boss at all if the bots are not killed, because you risk swarming your allies with 5, 10, 15, 20 bots at once, and if those bots are hedgehogs, you're dead. You don't have the rate of fire to put up with 20 guns with 5 hedgehogs all swarming around. Now that the hedgehogs are gone, now that there were no bots, we had some freedom to shoot the Novak, and with the respawning of the bots, we've got to focus them down as quickly as possible. You'll notice I put 2 shells into that trapper, because that trapper is going to slow me down, and that'll make me a sitting duck for hedgehogs like the one I just destroyed, and so I have to wipe those off very, very quickly. That was an alpha hedgehog, much easier to hit, very tall. However, as soon as it dies, it will spawn smaller hedgehogs, and that presents a great threat to my allies. So, clutch shell right there to save our double. That was one of my favorite moments of this replay. We're going to go ahead and wipe off the corrupted because he could set me on fire. And now that the bots are wiped off, we as a team can start focusing down the Novak. This is phenomenal. And you'll notice, even as I shoot the Novak with my HE shells, I still can't penetrate these orange weak spots, and so I load my heat rounds. These heat rounds have reduced damage, and so they're actually worse to shoot the bots with. However, they will give me enough penetration to penetrate the Novak, and instead of doing 300, 200 damage when I hit a weak spot, I can do bang, 544. And so I would say that these heat shells are primarily for shooting the boss when you get to that stage. However, even at that point, I think loading and keeping HE is still pretty advantageous, because if I had HE right here for this Lynx, I could have one-shot him. Instead, it's going to take 2 shells, one from me and one from somebody else, in order to wipe out some of these bots. And so you do have to consider that your job, your role as a Grenadier, is not necessarily focusing down the boss. Wow. Check that, that's a flipped bot. I didn't know that was possible until I saw it in this replay. So, I will swing over here. I'm not focused on the boss because that's not my job. Unfortunately, the poor accuracy of the Grenadier holds me back, but my Ferrata is able to escape, and I get to watch as Calcifer secures the win, and we take down the Nightmare mode. Alright. And with a quick look at the post-game results, we finish first on our team, and that is really important because however you end up finishing in this game mode will determine how many keys you get. And we're going to talk about why keys are important in just a moment. If you get first place on a finished Nightmare difficulty game, then you will get 13 keys. This is the most amount of keys that you can obtain, no matter what. 13 keys. Now, in this game mode, we delivered 302 matter, we did 26,000 damage, and we killed 30 vehicles. So pretty strong result overall. And if we take a look at our team, you can see why we finished first. We ended up getting 302 total collection, 26,000, and that was not quite the most on our team because our beast of a platoon mate, Calcifer, who I met today and just had the pleasure of playing a couple games with, ended up doing nearly 30,000 damage in his Malachite. That is phenomenal. However, we will high score because we captured more Miriam and we got 8 more kills than Calcifer, and you can see why being first is so important. We end up getting this 13 keys. Rad Roman and Calcifer end up getting 11, and then towards the back, Malatio gets 9 and El Oruga gets 7. And so while 7 is not a bad result by any means, if you can get first, you're going to get almost double what the person in last ends up getting. And this is key for a few reasons. The primary reason you're going to be playing this game mode is because you want to unlock the new Tier 8 Premium, the Obsidian. What you need to do is when you're playing this game mode, you need to collect as many reels, or perhaps I should say keys, as possible. When you get these keys, you are going to spend them on these different reels. There are 15 total reels that you want to collect. The first level of the reels takes 10 keys. Once you unlock it, you'll get a biff. You'll get a boost to your XP. You'll get 6 mobility mark decals, but nobody really cares about these. I suppose the important part is you get this Legio Ferrata. Once you go on to reel 2, you'll get 100,000 credits, 2 demounting kits. That also costs 10. As you move up these different levels, it's going to cost more and more keys to unlock, but the rewards will get better. 50 bonds, 200,000 credits. That's a good payday for anybody, and that's only going to take 30 keys. You get 200 battle pass points up here, 5 retraining orders, 200 bonds, and at the last level on reel 15, you'll get 3 days of World of Tanks premium count and a universal manual. Now, one thing I want to stress that I don't think a lot of people are talking about is you do not need to unlock these reels in order. You can pick and choose the rewards that you want. If you're free to play, you can go straight to reel 15 and get your 3 days of premium right away. That is phenomenal. If you want to go for the Grenadier, if you like the gameplay that you got to see, then you can go to straight to reel 7, get 20 keys, and you'll unlock the Grenadier. And that is really, really great way to get 2 days of World of Tanks premium account, 100 battle pass points, and get what I think is the most entertaining tank to play in this entire game mode. So pick and choose the reels that you want. If it was up to me, I would say probably avoid reel 1 because this does very, very little. Reel 7 is probably what I would start with. And once you've unlocked all of these, you will end up getting to reel 16, the unofficial one. This is if you decipher all the reels. If you unlock everything, then you're going to get to the Obsidian. And the Obsidian is going to be a new Tier 8 Premium. Now, I have not played this tank. I haven't managed to unlock all the reels yet, and when that happens, I will hope to get a review out for you. Right here, just base stats. It's got 120 millimeters of frontal hull armor. It doesn't look very well sloped. The turret armor is only 205. I suppose the very interesting thing about this tank is its firepower. It only has 200 average damage, but you do get to fire very, very quickly. It's got a pretty solid rate of fire, and its DPM, if we can pop it up somewhere, is about 2300 base. And so I don't expect this will be phenomenal, but if you're free to play, it's a great way to unlock a tank. And this is really, really easy to obtain. By my count, it takes about just over 300 reels. I believe 310 total reels, give or take a couple. And 310 reels, if you're averaging, I would say throughout my 2 or 3 hours playing this game mode, I think I averaged about 8 reels per game. So 310 reels divided by 8 reels game, it's going to take you about 39, we'll say 40 games to unlock this tank. And 40 games in this game mode, you might say, hey, that's a lot. That's a lot of games. But about 40 games is only going to be about 9.5 hours. A lot of the mission marathons, it seems, take 40, 50, 60 hours to complete, and this you can finish, I would say, for a strong player, you can finish this in about 10 games. If you've got a great team, if you've stacked up with other players that you know well, then you could complete this game over and over and over again, especially as you get more practice. I think people could start finishing this every single time, and you'll get this premium tank incredibly quickly. This is, I think, one of the most generous offerings I've ever seen Wargaming give, because for 10 hours you can be completely free to play, you can get a few days of premium time, and you can unlock a brand new tier 8 premium for only about 10 hours work. Add on to the fact that the rewards for each of these games is pretty good. If you're winning on every single phase, you're going to get 100,000 credits on every single playthrough. So get yourself a team, work with your clanmates. If you can finish it, you're making 100,000 credits per game, and that's for free-to-play players. That's phenomenal. Some of you people with premium accounts, with all the boosts, with all the bonuses, might scoff at that, but for a free-to-play player, you're getting 100,000 credits. You're probably spending about 23,000 credits per run on your consumables and abilities, but that's still about 80,000 credits per game for our free-to-play players, and that's a phenomenal deal. I really want to, congratulate Wargaming on putting together a really well fleshed out event. It's got a lot of depth, it's very difficult, and I think there's a lot for people to learn and to improve with. And it's profitable for the free-to-play players. It's got a great reward. Even if this doesn't look to be the most entertaining tank to play, it's got some novelty, it's brand new, and I'd say it's a challenge, but it's not super difficult to get. 10 hours, you definitely feel like you've earned it, but it's not a slog like a lot of the mission marathons have been before. And so for me, sort of my end conclusion, this holiday Mirny-13 event is fantastic. I think it's one of the best events Wargaming has done in a very, very long time. I think there's a lot here for the free-to-play players. There's a lot here for just the old-timers like me who have invested a ton of money and time into the game. I think this is a game mode that everybody can participate in, enjoy, and just have a lot of fun with. It's a blast to play. I'm looking forward, hopefully, to joining one of my buddies on it, and just getting to unlock some really crazy and fantastic rewards. So, if you have the time, go for it. Go try to get yourself the Obsidian and just have fun with the game mode. Use it as target practice. Use it as a time to sort of improve your skills against bots and have a lot of fun doing it. I think it has a ton of replay value. I can see it being phenomenal to play with a group of buddies or with clanmates, and I think it really is one of the best events Wargaming has done in a long, long time. With that said, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next one. LadPad out.